Okay, so in the previous lecture, we have discussed about conventional amplitude modulation or double sideband with carrier type of modulation schemes, its generation technique, its representation in time domain and frequency domain. Now, on the similar note, we'll further discuss about the second type of the amplitude modulation, that is double sideband suppressed carrier type of modulation, DSB-SC. DSB-SC type of modulation scheme. Okay. In the case of your DSB-C, double sideband with carrier modulation scheme, we have seen the spectrum as well as the modulated signal in time domain, and we know that there are three components present in that kind of modulated signal, which are your two sidebands, lower sideband plus upper sideband, and your carrier signal. Okay, hence the name double sideband with carrier. There are two sidebands that are present plus the carrier signal, right? While in the case of double sideband suppressed carrier type of the modulated signal, as the name suggests, the carrier would be suppressed. Okay, so we are left with only the two sidebands, lower sideband and the upper sideband, and the carrier signal is suppressed in case of double sideband suppressed carrier type of amplitude modulated signal. Now comes the motivation behind this type of modulation scheme. We have already seen that in case of DSB-C or the conventional type of amplitude modulation, a significant amount of power is wasted in the transmission during the transmission of the carrier signal, because carrier signal does not contain any information. So transmitting carrier is just simply wastage of your power. Transmitting carrier alone is simply wastage of your transmitted power, right? And we have seen that for the best possible scenario, that is for you can say m is equal to 1, best possible scenario of the modulation index, 2/3 of power, 2/3 of transmitted power is consumed by the carrier signal, which is simply wastage of your transmitted power. Hence the power efficiency of DSB-C type of the signal is very, very poor. Now, to overcome or to improve the power efficiency for the amplitude modulated signals, we move on to double sideband suppressed carrier type of signals, where we suppress the carrier and we transmit only the lower sideband and the upper sideband which contain useful information. So if instead of transmitting the full conventional AM signal, the carrier is suppressed in that. Alright, this is the concept behind double sideband suppressed carrier type of the signal. Now let us look at the general expression for DSB-C SC type of signal. General expression of DSB-SC. First, I'll just go through the comparison. The general expression of DSB-C type of a signal includes two components, the carrier signal and the multiplication of the message and the carrier, as we have already seen in the previous lectures. DSB-C, it is your carrier signal plus the multiplication of the carrier and the message signal, which includes your two sidebands and the carrier signal, right? On the contrary, the general expression of double sideband suppressed carrier type of signal will include only the multiplication of the message and the carrier signal. Since the carrier is being suppressed, so it includes only the multiplication of message and the carrier signal. So this is the general expression for your double sideband suppressed carrier type of a signal. And if we assume the carrier signal to be a sinusoidal signal, let us assume that CT is your cosine waveform, that is AC cos omega CT, and hence we can say that this expression can be written as MT into AC cos omega CT. This is the expression of double sideband suppressed carrier signal in time domain, and we can have its Fourier transform, and we can represent it in the corresponding frequency domain as well. So let us take the Fourier transform of this time domain expression and represent the signal in the frequency domain. We know the Fourier transform of this cosine signal is in the form of impulses. So it would be your m of omega convolution with AC by 2 del omega minus omega c plus del omega plus omega c, right? And if we simplify it further, it will lead us to AC by 2 into m omega minus omega c plus m omega plus omega c, and hence this is the expression of your double sideband suppressed carrier type of signal in the frequency domain. Now let us try to plot the spectrum of this DSB-SC type of a signal to give to have a better insight of the system. We know we have seen till now the time domain expression as well as the frequency domain expression. This is the frequency domain and this is the time domain expression. Let us plot the frequency domain expression, or that we call it as the spectrum of the signal, to have a better insight of the signal. Let us assume the spectrum of the message signal m of t as any random spectrum. Let's say it's a triangular wave. So this is m of omega, that is the spectrum of the message signal, ranging from minus omega m to omega m. And now based on this assumption, the spectrum of the DSB-SC type of the signal would be shifted version of this message signal. We can see the frequency domain expression. It is nothing but the shifted version of the spectrum of the message signal with the amplitude AC by 2, right? So it will be nothing but the shifted version of the message signal. So this will be your AC, the amplitude would be AC by 2, and the shift will be by omega c towards the right and the left hand side, right? So we shift the spectrum of the message towards right by omega c and towards left by omega c, and the extreme points would be omega c plus omega m and omega c minus omega m. So this is the spectrum. Now clearly you can see that there is no carrier component present in the spectrum. The only components present here are your upper sideband and the lower sideband, right? There is no, and on the similarly on the negative frequency counterpart, we only have the upper side, this is your upper sideband, and the lower sideband. There is no carrier component present in the signal, since we have already suppressed the carrier signal, right? So there are only two components, that is the upper sideband and the lower sideband. Now with the help of this carrier signal, spectrum, we can easily find out the bandwidth required for the transmission of DSB-SC type of a signal, and you will observe that we can observe from here, from the spectrum, that the bandwidth, that is the band of frequencies in which the maximum energy components are present, it lies between these two extreme points, which is equal to twice of omega m. So this is the bandwidth of the DSB-SC type of a signal, which is exactly same as that of the bandwidth requirement of the DSB-C type of the signal. There is no change in the bandwidth of the conventional amplitude modulated signal and the DSB-SC type of the modulated signal. The difference lies in the transmission efficiency, right? Because in DSB-C, that we'll see further, right? Now assuming a single tone type of the modulation system, by single tone we mean that the message signal consists of only a single frequency component. Let us assume that MT is also a sinusoidal signal, that is AM cos omega MT, and CT is your carrier signal, which is a high frequency signal, that is AC cos omega CT. So your DSB-SC, double sideband suppressed carrier type of a signal in time domain, can be represented as multiplication of MT and CT. So that will give us AC AM cos omega ct and into cos omega mt, right? Let us apply some trigonometric identity and expand this expression. We'll get AC AM by 2 cos of omega c minus omega m into t plus AC AM by 2 cos of omega c plus omega m into t. So this is your corresponding expression in time domain for DSB-SC type of a signal, and again you can see it consists of only two components. I'm focusing on this concept again and again because that is the major differentiating factor. It consists of only two components, that is the lower sideband and the upper sideband, right? And if you plot the spectrum, of this, the Fourier transform of cos omega c minus omega m is it's shifted impulses shift by omega c minus omega m, and similarly the Fourier transform of cos omega c plus omega m is again shifted impulses. So if we plot the spectrum of this particular signal for single tone type of the system, the spectrum would be something like this. If this is omega c, this is omega c plus omega m, this point would be omega c minus omega m, and the amplitude would be AC AM pi by 2. And similarly we'll have the components on the negative frequency counterpart, right? So this is the spectrum, and again you can see there is only upper sideband and the lower sideband. This is your upper sideband and the lower sideband, and there is no carrier signal present into it. Okay, now since we are clear with the concept of DSB-SC type of the signal, double sideband suppressed carrier type of a signal, now let us move on to the generation techniques of such modulated signals. Okay, so in general we use only two types of methods to generate DSB-SC type of signals. So let us go through them one by one. So the generation techniques of DSB-SC type of signal includes two methods. First is your ring modulator, and the second method that is frequently used is your balanced modulator. Okay, see the principle behind the generation of DSB-SC signal arises from the fact that the DSB-SC signal is nothing but multiplication of your message and the carrier signal. Now we only have to find out the way to appropriately multiply these two type of signals. We need to design the multiplier. Okay, so principally we need to only multiply your message and the carrier signal to get DSB-SC type of a signal, right? That is the principle behind it, right? But designing of this particular multiplier is not that easy of a task. So we need to come up with some modulators to multiply these two type of signals. So ring modulator and the balanced modulator, these two types of the modulators helps in the multiplication of DSB-SC type of hence the generation of DSB-SC type of signals. So this multiplier can be designed using a ring modulator method or the balanced modulator type of method. We'll discuss these two type of modulators one by one. Firstly, let us discuss about ring modulator type of the method. I'll first draw the circuitry of the ring modulator, and then we'll move on to the logic behind the working of that circuit. So we have primary induction coils, then we have a combination of four diodes in the form of a ring. Okay, so there are four diodes, D1, and then we have D2, then it's another diode is D4, and then D3. These diode D1, D2 D3 and D4, they form a ring. Okay, if you simplify this circuit, you'll find that it is in the form of a ring structure. Okay, then we have secondary coils, secondary induction coil, and the expected output is DSB SC type of the signal. This is the expected output. Okay, and we apply carrier signal through the center tapping of these coils. Okay, and we apply a message signal at the input of the primary coils, and the carrier signal is applied at the center tapping of these two coils, right? Now let us analyze the working of this ring modulator. Okay, so let us first analyze the case 1. Case 1 is a scenario when only CT is present, when only your carrier signal is applied and there is no message signal, that is MT is equal to 0. There is no message signal applied at the input and only we apply the carrier signal. Okay, and the switching of the diodes, all the 4 diodes, will depend on the polarity of the carrier signal. Okay, so it will have further 2 subdivisions. This case will have further 2 subdivisions. That is for the positive cycle of the carrier signal. Carrier is a sinusoidal signal. It will have positive as well as the negative polarity. So for the positive cycle of the carrier signal, we can say that if the CT is positive, D1 and D2 will be forward biased and D4 and D3 will be reverse biased. Clearly we can see from this circuit that D1 and D2 are forward and D3 and D4 are reverse biased. So D1 and D2 are on or forward biased and D3 and D4 are off or reverse biased. Alright. So there will be equal and opposite conduction, we can say that. So you can simplify the circuit, the ring modulator circuit, as this now. This D1 and D2 are forward biased. So now the 2 branches, this branch is having D1 and D2 diode, will conduct equal and opposite current. Okay, they will conduct equal and opposite current, and hence the resultant or the output is equal to 0. Correct. Now let us take the second case for the negative cycle. For the negative cycle, you will analyze that D3 and D4 are forward biased or on, and D1 and D2 are in the off condition. When there is negative cycle of the carrier signal, D1 and D2 will be off or reverse biased and D3 and D4 will be in the on condition, right? Which is quite intuitive, right? So if you try to simplify the this circuit for this ring modulator, it will be something like this. Okay, so now the branch is having D3 and D4 diode. Okay, they will conduct again equal and opposite current, and hence again the output will be 0. Okay, I hope we are clear with this case. Now moving on to the second case, when we apply the carrier signal, when we apply the message signal also along with the carrier signal, let us analyze the case 2 when MT is also applied. So now we have applied both carrier as well as the message signal. Now for the positive cycle of CT, again the circuit will be something like this. Diode D1 and D2 are forward biased or they are on. So empty is applied at the input side. So the polarity induced will be positive, negative, let's say, right? So same polarity will be induced over here, positive, negative, alright, and hence positive, negative. So whatever is the applied input empty, that will be the applied output, the obtained output empty in the same polarity, right? For the positive cycle of CT. And for the negative cycle of CT, this circuit can be simplified as we have already seen previously. It will be something like this. Alright. And if we apply empty over here with some, let's say, polarity positive and negative, the same will be induced here, positive and negative. This positive polarity would now come over here and negative here, and the same negative positive will be induced at the output of the secondary terminal. Now you see, if the applied input is m of t, the obtained output will be reverse of mt. The polarity will be reversed, so it will be minus of mt. The polarity is reversed now, okay, for the negative cycle of CT. I hope it is clear till this point. Now let us analyze all these cases graphically. That will give you a much better idea about the generation of DSB-SC type of signal using ring modulator. Alright, so let us assume that we have the message signal as this, m of t with amplitude a of m. Alright, and next we have the carrier signal c of t, a high frequency carrier signal. Okay, so this is your carrier signal with amplitude a of c. Now based on these two and the working of the circuit, let us find out the output signal of the ring modulator, which should be DSB-SC type of a signal, right? So till this point, message signal is 0, right? So when message signal is 0, MT is not applied. We have already seen that the output is 0. See, when the message signal is 0, only carrier is applied, message is 0. The output is 0 for the positive as well as the negative polarity. Output is 0 for the positive as well as the negative polarity of the carrier. So irrespective of the carrier, the output will be 0. Alright. Now, if you look at the system here, now we apply the message signal. Okay. And now we have to analyze what will happen with the output when simultaneously message and the carrier are applied. Okay. Okay. See, let us check the polarity of the carrier now. Beyond this point, the carrier polarity is negative, right? Now just look at the case when MT is applied and the carrier signal cycle is negative. The output is minus MT. Whatever is the MT, output will be minus MT. So this is the output. This is the MT signal. Okay, for this particular cycle, for this particular negative cycle, so the output will be minus MT here. This will be the output. Okay, that is the reverse of MT. Moving on, next we have the positive cycle of CT. This is the positive cycle of CT, right? For positive cycle of CT, you can see that for positive cycle of CT, when empty is applied, the output is same as empty, right? So empty in this cycle is this, from this to this, right? So this will be same as empty. So output will be this, right? Then again we have negative cycle. So for negative cycle, the output will be minus empty. So this is empty, will take reverse of that. This will be minus of empty. Next we have the positive cycle. So it will be plus of empty, and then minus of empty, then plus of empty, then minus of empty, then plus of empty, then minus of empty, and so on, right? And similarly, and likewise, we can continue with this waveform, and we can find that the resultant, if we join the envelopes, if we find the envelope of the DSB-AC signal, it is something like this. So hence we can, and this shape is nothing but the shape of the amplitude modulated signal of the form of the variant DSB-SC type, right? So hence, in this manner, using a ring modulator, just with the help of four simple diodes, we are able to generate DSB-SC type of signal, or we are able to multiply the message signal with the carrier signal, and we obtain the resultant as this. Or if we look at the envelope, it is something like this. It is nothing but the DSB-SC type of a signal. Okay, so that is all for this lecture. We'll discuss about the second type of generation method, that is the balanced modulator method, in the next lecture. Thank you.